Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome to another exciting episode of LT Showcase. I am Lucious T, and today we're taking a look at Time Splitters Future Perfect for the GameCube. A game I've been wanting to play for years. It's from a series I really like. Am I going to enjoy it? Let's find out.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucious T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life.
This is Retroactive.
Time Splitters Future Perfect. Yet another one of these late GameCube games, and I think it was on other systems too, that I just missed out on. Now, it came out in March of 2005, and I was a freshman in college. So, I really didn't have any money to go out and buy games. That's part of the reason it made World of Warcraft so appealing, is I wasn't getting an allowance anymore. I didn't have that spending cash to save up and get games. Funny enough, I could have asked for it for my birthday. But anyways, I was a huge fan of Time Splitters 2. I never played Time Splitters 1, but I heard through the grapevine that it was made by a lot of the people who made GoldenEye. And it had that same feel, it had that same sound effects even, and it was very humorous in a good way. Not quite on the level of Paper Mario, but also not as cheesy as Maneater. And it was so much fun, and the multiplayer is really where Time Splitters 2 shone, because you had so many different characters to unlock, so many different game modes, and you could have bots, and it was a lot more refined bots than you had in Perfect Dark. They weren't just, hit scan cheap sons of bitches. So, Future Perfect was a game I remember reading about at the time. I was super excited to play, but then I went to college, and life got in the way, and then I got WoW, and over time, I just forgot about this game, because it really didn't look like it did much different than Time Splitters 2. And I assumed the series would go on, which it didn't. This is the third and final game in the series, which going on 16 years now since the last one, which is a shame because this particular version has gotten pretty expensive. I think I bought this a few years ago, $50 complete in box, which now, oh god, that's a bargain, I bet, because GameCube prices have shot up. But enough backstory here. So Future Perfect is... I want to say it takes place right after Time Splitters 2. It's been too long. I don't remember. They do mention Kalos very briefly, but you're going after the scientist Crow, and you're going after him all throughout different time periods. And it's great because each time period really has its own flavor. So it has its own gunplay, its own sound effects, its own setting. But the humor and the art style and all that's always the same. But you have a World War II era level that's very reminiscent to Medal of Honor. And then you have a kind of a James Bond setting where you're playing with Harry Tipper. Obviously an Austin Powers type. You then go into into 94 where you're playing in a Resident Evil style mansion and there's zombies. After that you go to a Perfect Dark era futuristic place, and then even more of a futuristic place that's more like a Terminator. And then finally you end up back in the present of the game, which is 2400, where you're fighting these beasts called Time Splitters. And I can't really remember what they do. They're powerful and they're dangerous. You didn't really deal much with Time Splitters in this game. More about this game was chasing Crow, and the big kind of hook this game did was that you would play with yourself. So there's always in every level there's a segment where future Cortez, which your character looks like a Vin Diesel wannabe. He's great. He's always spouting cheesy lines and says, "Time to split." And it's just the humor, like I said, the humor is really good. It's good. It's not too tongue-in-cheek, which makes it work, because there's a lot of humor like this now that the whole joke is, look how cringy we are, versus this is, wow, it's so funny. Man, he's so awkward, and it's a thin line. Humor's hard. But yeah, so you have a thing where you have multiple Cortezes that are working together. And you can think this gets a little tired. You think it's not going to be that interesting. And yeah, every level knowing this is coming, it does get a little repetitive at times. But even as much as I want to say I get tired of it, seeing the same cutscene for the second time, and now you're the other Cortez talking to yourself, and you're always saying like, hey, I said that. Oh no, I gotta take him. Last guy took. It's just the humor. The humor is always fun, and that's what this game is. It's really just a lot of fun, just zaniness that... It's funny because we don't have first-person shooters that are like this anymore, which this is the GoldenEye style of shooter that I really liked. It's not so much of a bullet sponge game that you get with the Halos, the Division, things where enemies have health bars or just take several hits, and it's not quite a Call of Duty or Gears of War where you have a life bar, but it's really based on how much damage you take burst-wise. This is one where you walk around and you get health refills and you get armor refills, more so like Doom, but even then it's not like the newer Dooms. The newer Dooms have you rushing in constantly. This one, you can find yourself getting to a checkpoint with one hit left, and you just have to be super, super careful. And I played it on medium. I didn't play it on hard because there's a lot of replay value in this. Like I said, a lot of the majority of the game is in the multiplayer, which I didn't even touch. I just played the main story, and it really scratched that itch. I miss first-person shooters that play like this, and of course you have the GoldenEye sound effects of the gun ricochets. They even have some cool sound effects that I recognize from Die Hard, and just all around, all the different guns are cool. It's nice that each era has its own. I didn't quite like all the era diversity like I did in the Time Splitters 2, because there you had to go to the Old West, you went to Chicago. I can't really remember what it was like. I don't know if you were inhabiting other players or if you were Cortez through the whole game. But just in general, because when you get to the future, the kind of Perfect Dark area and the Terminator area, that's when the game starts getting a little of its future precedents where you're fighting a bunch of bullet sponge enemies and it's not quite as enjoyable. But yeah, the earlier levels, especially the Medal of Honor type ones, which I don't have any footage of, and then the James Bond type ones, you get in the vehicles, you find the armor pack. When you shoot enemies, if you get a headshot, they're dead immediately. You can shoot them in arms, hit them in other places. Like, it's a lot of fun, and it's such a shame that they don't make anything like this. This, as much as I'm over the first-person shooter, this is the type of game that if it came out now, I would legitimately play and have a blast with. And yes, the health refills, where you're relying on finding those, can be a little annoying, but there's no highlighted doors, there's no highlighted ammo. You literally, it blends in with the atmosphere. You click a thing that looks like it moves, and it moves. It doesn't hold your hand. It looks, even as, obviously the graphics have aged, they're not perfect, but it feels like a modern game because it's a twin stick as far as you move with the right, look around with, or move with the left, look around with the right. So it feels like a modern game. It just has a lot of not modern proclivities as far as holding your hands, and I like it. I like it a lot. Even when it shows the little picture-in-picture on the screen of when you do something, that is so much better than showing you a damn waypoint. Because, oh, I saw the picture of what happened, that means I need to go look for something, and the levels aren't so big and sprawling that you get lost. It keeps you from going to areas that don't matter, which a lot of games now, they don't do. They want to make the game feel fleshed out and alive and like a real setting, but because it's like a real setting, there's a lot of dead ends or a lot of areas that really have no purpose. So, Time Splitters Future Perfect, excellent game, well worth a pickup. Maybe not get it on GameCube if you can find it cheaper for the other systems, because I'm sure it plays the same. If I was going to give it a rating, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not perfect. Like I said, the futuristic levels drag a little bit, but cool concepts. Honestly, get Time Splitters 2 over this one. I like the second one more, but hey, I'm talking nostalgically, so maybe this one is in fact better. But yeah, that's your review. Pick it up, play it. That's your homework.